everybody. Welcome to the first episode. It's Quick Talk Sports. We're going to kind of hang out here, talk sports, make you some money with some gambling picks, talk about all the things guys like, girls, booze, sports, gambling. I'm Aaron Larsuel, some background in the NBA, and I once won $1,000 betting a WNBA game, which I'm not proud about. That is the lovely and talented Lisa Ann. She needs no introduction, but she's a fantasy sports expert, radio host, an author, all sorts of great stuff. And that over there to our left is Nic Goodwin, and he can tell you about all his wonderful accomplishments.
Yeah, I'm just a degenerate.
Okay.
Well, so you gamble?
Yeah.
Some of us are degenerates, and but we're going to talk sports. We're going to lead it off. Big story this week: Kyrie Irving finally got his wish. He got traded from the Cleveland Cavaliers to the Boston Celtics. The Cavs got back. Mainly some guys that can kind of play, like Isaiah Thomas. Everybody knows him. The little 5'9" IT, Jay Crowder, who has a couple years left on his deal. A dude named Ante Zizic, who nobody's ever heard of, and that's okay. And the Brooklyn Nets pick for next year, the first-round pick, unprotected. So, yeah. Winners, losers, what do you guys think?
Well, I think the swap for who's got the worst defender at this point, Kyrie was pretty bad for the Cavs, but Isaiah doesn't rock as a defender either, so they made that equal swap. I see the blood vibe going a lot better with respect between Isaiah and LeBron in that situation, whereas for Kyrie, I just really think that he needed his space to be able to be more than under LeBron's shadow.
I think so too, and you know, the contract money. I mean, I saw that really jumped out right ahead with Isaiah.
Yeah, he's making like $6 million, so he's going to save. The trade is actually going to save the Cavs a lot of money off of their luxury tax bill. But does this kind of feel like rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic? I mean, can either of them beat the Warriors? Does it matter?
Well, you know, the Warriors did make the big move and add Swaggy P just to make sure they're not a super team anymore, just to keep it real. Balance it out a little bit, people.
Swaggy P gets to keep his act in California, and the Warriors kind of seem like a team that can fold these guys in. JaVale McGee last year, they got some good production out of him. These guys that kind of have a reputation for not being the best locker room guys. What do you think fantasy-wise? Does it matter? You are the fantasy guru.
Fantasy-wise, I think this opens up a ton for Kyrie, who I'm happy to own in a dynasty league. You know, I think he's going to get a lot more work on that floor and be able to spread it around a lot more for himself, as opposed to fighting the personalities that he was working against in Cleveland.
Yeah, definitely. And one other thing about the trade that really just, you know, jumps out at me, you got the Nets, you know, that pick.
They got it. The Celtics got it in the Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce trade. It's kind of the last piece of that heist that Danny Ainge pulled off. I think it was four years ago. I think it was. The next kind of big thing just came out recently. Johnny Bones Jones failed another drug test, which should surprise absolutely no one. I kind of feel like his father. I'm just disappointed and like on the verge of angry, but I'm just disappointed at him. Is that a strange reaction to have?
I'm wondering when Steve Hirsch from Vivid is going to offer him some sort of a
there
contract.
You go. There you go.
Next,
yeah,
right?
yeah, that's it.
Where else can you go at this point when you do something reckless? I mean, obviously he doesn't take things seriously, and I also don't think he's the brightest lamp in the store. And he doesn't have a team around him that's protecting him. You know, when you're in this situation and you've been this big of a risk, your blood needs to be tested at home through your people monthly. You need to be monitoring everything you're taking, because look, we've seen players like Antonio Gates reach a suspension on a total mishap. I do not think at all that was intentional on his point. So I think that there are things that you need to be self-testing for, and I'm talking to some more athletes now that are starting to do this, where they're making sure none of the new supplements that they're on are conflicting with the new rules and regulations, which are always changing. But
well, speaking of Bones, for the Vivid deal, the first time he failed a test, he said it was a male enhancement pill that
which I thought
had
was
something a little tainted in it, right?
Which is like, you're throwing in the towel if you're like this big macho dude and you're admitting this.
Well, you gotta come up with something. And he said he was quoted yesterday saying that he was shocked. John is shocked by the results of the test. Are you really, John? Yeah. But I think this presents a problem for the UFC, because the UFC has, to me, they have a star problem now. Bones is probably going to be suspended, lose his belt, be suspended for 2, 3, or 4 years for this second failed test. He also had that hit and run thing out of the ring. Ronda Rousey, we haven't seen since she lost to Nunes at the end of last year. She's kind of disappeared. And now Conor McGregor is fighting on Saturday, and depending on how that goes for him, I kind of wonder is he going to be a boxer and not a UFC star anymore? Does the UFC, seems like they have a star problem. Who's going to promote their fights?
I think the only person I can think of outside the box is Cyborg. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of the bigger name now that's kind of left in there. I mean, with McGregor, you know, now he's got his boxing license, right? So let's just say something crazy happens on Saturday, and who knows?
Yeah, well, let's talk about Saturday. To me, both of these guys are kind of unlikable. So, who are you rooting for? What do you want to see happen, and what do you think is going to happen?
You know, I think we're looking at two egos more than two skill sets, because you're taking two completely different animals and putting them into, yes, it is boxing, it is what Mayweather is used to, but you're dealing with the dynamics here. And I will say, if UFC even wants to have Conor back, the price is going to be so incredible. Right. They're just not going to be able to afford it. He's the greatest entertainer ever. I wish he was a wrestler.
Yeah, I mean, he basically
so
is,
awesome
right?
in
All the press conferences.
Oh my gosh, can you imagine? But you know, the obvious right now is everyone's like, it's Mayweather, it's Mayweather. I really think McGregor has a chance to get at it. I just want to see a fight that goes longer than 5 rounds, and I'd like to see some blood.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you brought up WWE. I mean, I really feel like this is a WWE fight.
It is.
I mean, it's been promoted like one.
Yeah, it is. The press conference tour, it has been. So
that's the reason why I think it's very scary to go out there and drop 40, 50 grand to make $10,000 or $15,000 for Mayweather to win, like everybody thinks he's going to win.
So the latest is Mayweather is minus 400 for the uninitiated out there. That means you got to bet 400 to win 100. McGregor is plus 300. You bet 100 to win 300. I actually think that if you want to bet on Mayweather, and this is usually the case in boxing matches, in fights, if you want to bet the favorite, in this case Mayweather, wait until the last second, because a lot of money is coming in on Conor McGregor, which will lower the price on Mayweather. So I like Mayweather, but I don't like it unless it gets down to 300, minus 300.
And remember, it shifted this week when they made the rule regulation change on the weight of the gloves.
Yes, they went from 10 ounces to 8 ounces.
It shifted dramatically because my neighbor had already placed his big bets last week, and I said, you better wait, hold out, see what's happening. I said, check it out, it's going to change, look at it change.
So I like, I'm going to say my pick for the week is I like Mayweather, but only at minus 300, and I want to taste on McGregor by decision at plus 1,200. $100 will win you $1,200. Kind of just hedging my bet against the possible funny business, the possible the fix is in and they want a rematch, because I don't think McGregor can hurt Mayweather enough to knock him out. So if you want to go with McGregor, I think you want to go with the decision and place it plus 1,200. $100 will win you 1,200.
Yeah, I think it's a much better bet to do that. I mean, it's just too crazy. I mean, they could be gearing up for fight number 2.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
you have to consider
$200 million.
Exactly.
You have to consider.
I think the only safe thing to bet on is my friends and I are all betting on how much money we think the pay-per-view is going to bring in. You know, because it's going to be the biggest in history. Yeah. This is the fight we've all been waiting for.
Showtime pay-per-view. So we're going to get out of here with that. But a lot more shows coming. Thank you to Lisa. Thank you to Nick. Tell everybody where you can find you.
You can hit me up at The Real Lisa Ann on Twitter and Instagram.
And everything, all of our social media is at QuickTalkSports. We'll see you guys soon.
Take care.